Welcome back, everybody, to the weekend show where I'll be discussing and doing technical analysis on big mega cap stocks. So, before we get started, please hit that like button, and that is greatly appreciated. And if you guys are new here, definitely consider subscribing. And now, let's get right into the market. All right, so welcome back once again, guys, and we got a lot of things to cover. So let's get started with investor sentiment, and you can see 35.5% are bullish, mostly bearish, about 40%, and 24% are neutral here in this market. We got 55 reading on fear and greed index just slightly getting over neutral. So getting into greed is not a good sign, but it was also coming off almost fear. We'll see how that goes next week. We have the biggest companies earnings next week, which is Nvidia. Some of the bigger names as well. If you look at right here, CRM, that's another one. CrowdStrike, that's going to be reporting earnings as well. We have some of the other ones like Best Buy, Marvel. So a lot of earnings, and the biggest one to watch for is definitely Nvidia. Wednesday night after closing. Besides, Nvidia, still, I mean, there's a lot there. Dick's Sporting Good. You got Zoom. So a bunch of earnings, and if you want to take a screenshot, go ahead and do that. We also have, if you look at my screen, core PC, but I don't think that's going to move the market. This is going to move the market depending on what comments the new Fed chair makes. Jackson Hole right here, and then we also have on Thursday as well. We also have Michigan consumer sentiment next week. So we will see, what new Fed chair has to say about the economy and the rates and all that, if that's going to move the market, coming up this week. Stock market overall on Friday was pretty bullish. S&P was up 0.43%, Nasdaq was up 0.43%, Dow was up 1% almost, Russell was up 0.77%, advancing 60.5, declining 35%. 11 sectors. Basic materials led the way on top. Healthcare, financial, communication services, consumer cyclical, utilities took a hit, energy was slightly down, and then real estate down here. Stock market map, what do we have here? You can see a lot of healthcare names. They were green, and then Nvidia was down, Microsoft pretty flat, Apple was down slightly, but overall, a lot of green on Friday. And even names like Palantir, Oracle, PANW, Google was up, and Tesla was the biggest one, which was up over 5%. All right, so on Tesla stock, it's up 5%. Now, when I call for Patreon and you guys, it's not all of you guys out there. Some people don't care about $100, right? It's a lot of work that goes in. There's lots of other channel out there talk about trade ideas. Oh, this is not an alert service and this and that. I'm sharing whatever I'm buying in real time, and that's how you're getting. Now, not only, just for $100, I'm even sharing my trades most of the time in my video, right? Tesla, you guys can go back if you watch. I don't make too many videos nowadays. You can go back and just watch that Tesla. I took a position, shares, and calls, and what happened. Getting nearly 100% on those calls, and the shares, they were up $60 per share. So I sold the shares, sold half of my position on calls, and just keeping some runners. And look at the move here, guys. So, whatever you see on your screen, whatever that I talk about in my video, this is exactly what you get in real time. Now, if you're not serious and you're just, messing around, coming into the Discord and doing nothing, well, obviously you're not going to make money. You're not serious. And I'm not talking to those people. So, people that are serious, they know exactly, not all the trades are going to pay, but if you win most of your trade, majority of your trades, you're going to be a successful trader. And that's what I do in the stock market. And these trade ideas I share with you guys all the time. And that's why there is Patreon. Now, I don't share all the plays, talking about, going through the details, but this was one that I called, and you can see massive, massive move to the upside, almost closing the gap at 373 almost right here, right? So what is next week? Well, it ran too fast. So can we take a little bit of back seat here? Absolutely. But look at the volume here on Friday, guys. Huge, huge volume. So if this thing, somehow gaps up, goes a little bit higher, we can fill the gap. Maybe from there we pull back a little bit. You can see a lot of overhead, resistance right here. 370 to 373. If this thing pulls back, look for the support right about 350 to 352. Why? Because this 5-day moving average will move up. It will come right up here come tomorrow, and you can see rejection. Rejection now will act as a support. But if this thing, moves back up and gets over 375, stays over that, for an entire week, I would say Tesla is going up even more, and it can possibly go up to 390, even 400. That's totally possible. This was a decent dip, and you can see the dip was bought up with some high volume, and now it's going up and it can continue. But I would like to see a little bit of pullback here on Tesla before this thing moves up even higher. On Nvidia stock, it was down 0.98%, so almost a percent down on Friday, but it's coming off a really strong rally, and now we can fill the gap right here. This is a strong support zone right here. So if this thing comes back in a little bit more, it's okay. It's nothing really crazy happening. And I think Nvidia, the biggest earnings we have this week, most likely they'll beat on earnings, but can't say if the stock can go up or not. Which way it's gonna go, right? It's really hard to predict earnings. So watch out here. If this thing, reclaims 217, then it's heading back up to 225 and possibly even higher to close the gap. And just a quick reminder to those who are actually serious about trading, if you want to do this full time and get all types of daily trade ideas, swing trade ideas, and you want to do this for real, head over to Patreon. That link will be down below in the description for you guys. On Meta, it's up 0.75%, and this is a fantastic dip. If you go and look at the weekly chart, we're just hanging in there, right? Yeah, how many touches right here, and still was able to hold this support. Yeah, it kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulder and all that, but how many times they actually play out, guys? Especially the bear ones. How many times do they play out? Meta, fantastic company, fantastic way of doing things. Maybe just not showing right now here on the price of the stock, but I think it will do well. We have a bunch of gaps to the upside. I mean, just a recent gap right here, 565. We have a gap at 624. We got really close. We didn't close the gap. We have a gap at 660. I'm not even going to talk about other gaps, but even we set up some sort of a counter trend rally here, you can easily come up to like 576, possibly even higher into the 50-day. But I think if you give this thing time, it will possibly come back and fill these gaps to the upside. If it goes lower, nothing but an opportunity. But this is not going to be a quick flip. Whether you're just going in and you think it's going to rally 100 the next day, and you're going to get out with uh, just a massive amount of profit. That's not going to happen possibly immediately, but it's coming very soon. So Meta here, the support held right here, 538. We do have a resistance right here. If you look at my screen, it was struggling right here at 552 because of this blue line on your screen. 5-day moving average, 552 breaks and holds, easily can go up to 558, 565 to close the gap, and then all the way up to even 576.48 to retest negative sloping 20-day moving average. On Google stock, it's up 1%. So unfortunately, it's not over 342, 343, slightly below that level. So we'll see how that works. But Google also, I think, over time, it will go past 400, maybe in next few months to maybe a few weeks. I mean, we had this massive run up, right? And now we're just pulling back. I mean, we retraced more than 50%, and now we're trying to find some sort of a ground here on Google. So if this thing rises back up, can get over these moving averages, especially I would say 345.87. If we can get over that, I think we can easily get up to 350s, even 360s on Google in next couple of sessions. Now, if we come back in, you can see, I mean, bulls were holding pretty strong here. There is a gap at 335. We didn't close the gap fully, but it's still there. And now we got a little bit of bounce. So if this thing rises back up, watch out for it move back up to the upside. And also, we talked about it in my video that we have this head, left shoulder, right shoulder, inverse head and shoulder. If this is going to play out, at some point, this is going to be massive here on Google stock. On Apple stock is down 0.63%. So Apple was fantastic. As a matter of fact, took some weekly calls on Apple right here, right about 307.89, I think, right around at 308, I would say. And this thing exploded. I mean, you can see it came back up all the way back up to almost 311. Took a little bit of profit and got out of there. And then this thing closed at 309. Still, was a decent move here on Apple stock. So Apple, more of a defensive stock, I would say right now. If the market goes down, something happens, that's when you see Apple making big moves to the upside because a lot of these, rich investors, they actually park their money on Apple. As of right now, nothing wrong with this chart. Maybe not in an uptrend, but it's also not in a strong downtrend coming off all-time highs. Nothing wrong with that. So watch out for that 310 area to break 311. If that breaks, we can definitely make a move back up to 317 and even higher to close these gaps to the upside. If it comes back in underneath 310, there is support right here, right about 303. That's a key level, and then flat 300. On Amazon, stock is down 0.57%. So Amazon, a bit of a fake out here. I mean, you would think that after all these days of selling, this was the final move to the upside, and now it's going to continue. But then we gave back to back 2 days, and we're just coming back and retesting this. 258 is holding, but Amazon here any day, I would say $300 stock, especially with the earnings that I saw and I heard in the last earnings call. I think it's just Bezos selling load of shares and taking profit, and that's why you're seeing a lot of pressure on Amazon. But this is not actually bearish. I would say the lower this thing goes, it's going to attract more people, considering what earnings a lot of investors and we all heard about the earnings. So if this thing holds to 58, maybe we put in a bottom and this thing rises back up. But this is a key level to hold. If that breaks, next stop would be 250. If it goes up, then watch out for the resistance at 264, 265. If we can break over that, you can see this rejection came off that level. We went slightly higher and then came back. So this has to break right here, 264.69. Over that, you're going to see continuation to the upside. But again, like I said, any day it's a $300 stock, and it's just a matter of when it's going to get there. On Microsoft, it's up 0.43%. So Microsoft, I don't really have any play here on Microsoft. People that are actually subscribed to my channel, watching my videos, a lot of folks who held and who trusted me with Microsoft, even though we were down on our position. We had this massive run. We didn't take profit. It came back, added even more, even on a down position. And then that position paid 100 plus percent, and we didn't even hold up to $513 or nowhere near 500. It was still up massively. So I don't like it. A little bit of bear flag forming maybe here, but I would be interested. I would be interested here on Microsoft if this thing pulls back a little bit deeper into this gap. You can see previous rejection. Now the gap fills support. It'll be fantastic. And if it comes back in a little bit more, just add to it. Just add to it and go long on Microsoft. But as of right now, I don't think there is any good clean setup. It can go up, it can come down, pretty much in nowhere, right? Just forming this mini bear flag here. Let's just see if this thing can, hold right here, that critical support right here, right about 478. You can see came pretty much exactly there on Friday and past couple of sessions. 478 breaks into the 20-day 473, and then the gap fill reversal can happen at 466.84 to the upside. If this thing breaks and holds 489, then we can talk about upside, maybe potential to go up and fill the gap right here, 493. On Broadcom, it's up 1.21%. Again, you don't want to short down here. I mean, this thing is pretty much at the bottom of the range here, and we have earnings coming up. Not this week, but the next week it's coming up, and we got a bunch of gaps to the upside. So even a counter trend can take Broadcom back up to easily 390, 400, and something like this. Like I said, it's coming off almost $500 per share, right? We have a massive gap here from last earnings, and we have another earnings, and I think it's just hanging in there. So you just need to see what it does, and if it goes up from here, then potentially it will fill the gap at 377. Stays over that, it'll fill the gap at 391. So just wait and see. Bottom of the range, you definitely want to watch that 358, 357 zone on Broadcom. On AMD, it's up 0.81%. So AMD, just a disappointing chart. Yes, we have this head and shoulder pattern or rounding top. We had this, pop to the upside and gain rejection, came back. So a lot of chop here on AMD. So I don't like this chart. I don't even want to go long or even short. Maybe a short, but definitely don't want to go long here. If it comes back up, watch for the gap right here, 504. That should be a rejection area. If it comes back and takes out 470, then watch out for the lower band here down at 441.59 into 430s. And underneath that, I think we can come all the way down and fill this gap from a few months ago right here with earnings right here 359. But as of right now, the Bollinger Bands are squeezing the stock. You can see the lower one is going up slightly, upper one coming down. So something big is about to happen here on AMD. I think we just have to wait and find out. All right, so on SpaceX, it was up 2.22%, and it just coming off of these highs right here. You can see 150, and this previous support area now acting as a resistant. And just pulling back does not mean that it's going to go down and burn and go down to zero. A lot of people are talking, a lot of things about SpaceX. I think it had a, massive run, and then usually what happens with new IPO, right? It crashed, and now it's just trying to find a ground here, see where this thing can stand, find a base, and then from there it's going to need some catalyst, maybe some good earnings to push the stock even higher. Remember, this is not some junk company. This is not even a company that belongs in like two, three, $400 billion market cap, right? This is a massive, over at one point it was almost $3 trillion market cap, right? When this thing had a massive run. So a big company. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere anytime soon. I think it'll do just good as Tesla is doing right now. If you believe in Tesla, you should believe in this stock because I think with the name Elon Musk, behind it, it's not gonna burn and go down to zero anytime soon. So shorting is definitely not worth it. I think longing is better here on SpaceX, and so far this is another opportunity where it's a holding 134. So if this thing, I mean, you just need to see 150 breaks upside, definitely way more upside. If it breaks under 134, we might come back and retest some of these areas, maybe even retest these lows down here, which is gonna be again opportunity. Nothing that I'm looking to short here on SpaceX. And that's all I have for you guys in this video. Thank you so much for watching.